penalty. And it's a one-goal game once more, but the clock is ticking. There's very little time for France.
Yeah, France capitalised. Poor ball from Declan Rice. Not enough on it. And obviously England are exposed. Jed Spence off the pitch. Ousmane Dembele does really well, cuts inside. Chalobah can't stay with him. Tries to put the block in. Dembele just picks his spot and curls into that far corner.
We've never had more goals than this in a third-place match of the World Cup. The previous record was when France beat Germany 6-3 way back in 1958. England to see out. Konsa does well there under intense pressure. Reece James. Konsa caught out by Barcola. Rice challenged by Barcola. Rabiot. Is there time for one more attack on England's goal? Jabbed away by James, on by Saka, up towards Watkins, tussling with Upamecano. Collected here by Jude Bellingham. And suddenly, it's France who are backtracking. Bellingham, it's brilliant. Is it going to be number 6? Oh, you bet it is. What a way to sign off at the end of the World Cup. World class. 7th World Cup goal of 2026 for the brilliant Jude Bellingham. France 4, England 6.
Remarkable. Absolutely brilliant finish to the game. Jude Bellingham, it was absolutely brilliant. He gathers the ball in the centre circle. You just feel like he has to look for options to lay it off. Instead, he's just got so much confidence. Maintaining possession, taking on 2 French players and the goalkeeper. Just never loses his cool. That is world class.
7th World Cup goal for him. That's a new record for an English player at a World Cup finals. And it was the last kick of the game, and it was some response to deep disappointment in the semi-finals, ultimately from both sets of players, but from England, who raced into a whirlwind 4-0 half-time lead. France was so poor in the opening 45, came back brilliantly in the second half. We saw a record-breaking goal from Kylian Mbappe. He hit 2, and a record-breaking 22nd World Cup goal all-time. He leads the race for the Golden Boot by 2, ahead of Lionel Messi. 10 goals for Mbappe now, 8 for Lionel Messi. A hat-trick for Bukayo Saka, and a wonderful sign-off from Jude Bellingham with the last kick of the World Cup. France 4, England 6. Wow, what a game.
Absolutely brilliant. They've been magnificent. This game was highly entertaining from start to finish. Obviously very one-sided in that first 45 minutes, but the second half came to life. France really made a game of it in the second half, and England had to find more gears, more levels. And in the end, they had enough to see this game out and do it quite comfortably in the end.
I mean, it was a special moment for Jude Bellingham. There's Declan Rice, who set England on the road to victory with his early goal, but his 7th goal at the World Cup. No one's ever scored 7 for England at a World Cup. Harry Kane has scored 6 previously, and here as well. And Gary Lineker with 6 in Mexico in 1986. So Bellingham breaking new ground. We've seen a few records along the way. And a word about that man there, Kylian Mbappe, and a historic couple of goals for him today. Ultimately, not the desired result for him, and not the way that Didier Deschamps would have wanted to go out. But we have a new all-time leading goal scorer in the history of the competition.
Yeah, we do, and I think, firstly, the recovery from France, their change of attitude, approach to the game was really telling and significant. And Mbappe, we saw some brilliant football from Mbappe and co. Elise. I mean, it could have easily have been a different scoreline. And least they had two huge chances, and had he have scored those, the game would have been different. Harry Kane devastated, I think, deep down that he didn't get a chance to play in this game. There were so many goals up for grabs. I think it's a befitting way for both these teams to finish the tournament. Of course, France will be disappointed they lost the game 6-4, and certainly for Deschamps, after what a career he's had managing the national team, to finish on a low point like this is possibly going to be difficult for him to take. However, England will be delighted to have finished on a positive, and that second half performance and the way, well, first half first and foremost, and then the second half, the way they dug deep, the way they came back into the game, was also something to take forward.
First time in almost 100 years that England have put 6 past France. 99 years ago, 1927, they were 6-0 winners in Paris. But a happier end to the World Cup for Thomas Tuchel.
Let's see the guys getting together from both sides after the game, putting some moments together.
Well, the game played in the best spirit possible. Very little for the referee to get involved in. So much attacking play to enjoy from both sides. What a career he's had, Didier Deschamps. We should mention him as well. His 186th and final game in charge of France. The record books, some of them say 187, but he wasn't in charge for one of the games here because unfortunately he had to return to France following the death of his mother. But what a record. He's won the World Cup as a player and a manager.
Yeah, and took obviously France to another World Cup, which they lost a monumental battle against Argentina back in 2022. Took them to the semi-final here in 26. His win record is pretty sensational as well. I think the most successful for a French manager, longest serving. So yeah, a remarkable career as a player, and then obviously as a manager. And of course, they start a new era beyond this World Cup with another World Cup era.
You see France play like that in the second half, you wonder what on earth the first 45 minutes was all about.
Yeah, personnel changes just didn't click. England's approach in the first half caught them out. Netherlands was able to get back in the game. But I think the second half performance was obviously very, very impressive. And it shows you the quality that this France side has. And when they're on their game, they can be almost unplayable at times.
They get one final rendition of Wonderwall. It's been something of a theme for the England team and the fans during this World Cup adventure, which almost took them all the way to the final itself. Not quite, but that was a response to their deep, intense disappointment that deserves all the credit in the world, and for both sets of players in the end as well. It's only the third time at the World Cup that we've ever had as many as 10 goals in a knockout match, and it's the first time that's happened in a long time. First time since 1954 when Austria played Switzerland. I mean, records kind of being broken. It just gives a little bit of context to what we've seen today, that this is not something that we would expect, and it has been a long time since we've seen this number of goals in a knockout match.
Well, when you think about it, the quality that's on the pitch shouldn't be as surprising as it is. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think there's every single person in this stadium have been entertained. It was a great football match to watch. There's no doubt about that whatsoever.
I think it benefited from the fact that the pressure had been lifted, Mark. You know, it wasn't a semi-final. The World Cup itself wasn't on the line. The players played with a greater freedom than we would have seen otherwise.
Yeah, I think the first 45 minutes was very different. That was the feeling of a game that was a disappointing two teams playing in this game, and England were the one that took the initiative and built that formidable lead. And then obviously the half-time break came and France were awoken from that disappointment and became almost They were worried about being embarrassed because that's how the scoreline was going. And they came out fighting in the second half. The changes obviously made a big difference as well. And they made a real game of it. And could have been easily new records being set. The team coming back from 4-0 down to even turn the game around. That's how the momentum was shifting in that second half. But you got to give England credit once again for digging deep, finding a way to stop it, to then get themselves that extra cushion. Of course, you have to bring players on like Lee Anderson and Jude Bellingham, fresh legs towards the end. You can then finish games off.
Let's take a look at the all-important match statistics. Wow, what a selection there. France 4, England 6. Both teams with 19 attempts on goal. England slightly more on target, and the XG there very slightly favouring France, but it's England who emerge victorious. But goodness me, they needed that 4-goal cushion, as it turned out, in the second half, and it was barely enough.
I mean, we're sitting here after, I'm thinking, almost in shock of how that performance went in that first 45, and you felt that if France don't do something differently, like completely change the way they played in that first 45, this could be a really bad afternoon for them, but they did. And we've got to see the France side that we're all expecting to do really well at this World Cup. Let's not forget, they have. I mean, they got to a semi-final. And we know that their bar is really, really high. But that second half performance from France was worth it. It was worth being here to watch it, to see it on TV. I'm sure around the world they were great. They really were exciting to see going forward.
And let's be honest, other than the England fans in the stadium, most people here, I think, would want to see. They came to see Mbappe, didn't they, as much as anyone else, really. And many in the stadium would have been hoping that he would have found the net today. They certainly got their money's worth there with the performance from the French captain. We're going to hear from both camps now, the final thoughts of this World Cup from both camps.
Well, Bakaya, huge congratulations. England have the bronze medal. You've got the match ball, but wow, that was a roller coaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a crazy game. Obviously, we're both still quite disappointed to not be in the final, but it was about finishing strong, and for us, giving the country the best.
Holland's Premier Line No Frost refrigerator range with its duo frost